It is 7 minutes past 2 o'clock on August the 14th. If I could ask Commissioner Wright, would you lead us in our invocation?
Sure. Let us pray. Our God and our Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings that you have given to us. We pray now, Lord, that you will be with us as we deliberate on improving our city, our roads and byways, and all the things that we have to do. We pray for those commissioners who are here, those who are joining us by call, and those who are not able to be here with us. We just pray, Lord, that you'll be within our midst, and we pray for those who are not here with us. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Everybody should have received the minutes from Commissioner Perry this morning. Has everybody had a chance to review those? Commissioner Perry, you
Did make one note on them.
Okay.
I think what I sent out.
The second time?
Yeah.
Oh, the second time, okay, yeah. No, let's see. I thought I left a date off. No, I filled it in, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
The second one I did fill in and make.
There were two versions sent out. The second one had a date added,
And they added, corrected this,
corrected the financials as well.
with the financials, yeah.
Is
If,
that the one that Tiffany had us out?
That's it,
Okay,
yes.
we have it.
okay.
That's the correct.
If everybody's had a chance to
Went out
review
about 30
them,
minutes after the first.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. Second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks,
We have Wilson and John.
John.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Financial update.
Good afternoon. I will provide an overview for the financials for Funds 173 and 157. For Fund 173, net obligations through July 2024, life to date, sits at $142.3 million. Life to date revenues and interest at $155 million. Life to date expenses at $123 million. And we have encumbrances of $4.3 million. Of the $123 million expenses, $1.6 million will be reconciled to Fund 157. The next, Fund 157, net obligations are at $35.2 million. Life-to-date revenues and interest at $39.2. Life-to-date expenses at $31.4, and encumbrances at $2.2 million. And that concludes the report for our financials. Questions?
Commissioner Perry.
On the bond fund, do you know offhand what's still encumbered? I thought we were through with everything on the bond projects.
No, and I'll go back to look. I created a chart. So there is something with Riverside. That's an encumbrance sitting in Riverside Drive.
If that's at $77,000, we needed to discuss it.
But
If that's the $77,000 for that work that was done after the project was complete, it might be the $500,000 that we transferred to Jackson Water.
Well, did we
Well, when Jackson Water took over that part of the project, it
reduce?
saved that much money, but we still had that much encumbered. So that's probably a large part of money that's not going to be spent that was encumbered for.
And then we had to spend some additional dollars fixing the water.
We did not have to spend it. The city had to spend it, but they wanted to charge it to that account, but it was after the project was over. And it was just like a regular project. It was not supposed to be part of the Riverside project.
Yeah.
But it was probably, we over encumbered Riverside anyway.
right, yeah.
And about $500,000 was what was involved in what Jackson Water took over, so that's probably a good bit of,
Yeah.
And this $1,000,006 on here, expenses,
Right.
with that expenses that's over on 173, would that go against that encumbrance?
No, so that is an actual expense.
Yeah, but it's an
Yeah.
expense that's been charged 173.
Right.
But it's gotta be transferred to 157, so it would remove an encumbrance, wouldn't it?
No, not necessarily so. I think it does add to 157's expenses. So the 31.3, you would add the 1.6, right? That will go to that expense line.
Okay.
Yeah. So in what I'll do is I'll go back and look at the encumbrances in 157 to see
See what that balance comes from.
Right, yeah.
Any other?
Just as a comment, looking at this, trying to straighten out some mistake I had in some number a while back. A little bit of an alarming issue is that it looks to me like our net revenues are dropping to about 1.1 every month, where we've been running about 1.4, 1.5.
Yeah, so last couple months, I think was a little over 1.2. And we had a jump,
We had one
maybe 3 months, like 1.5.
We had one jump, but if you go back to January, it was 145,000, and 8 months later, it's 155,000. And so that's 145 million to 155 million. In 8 months, it's been $10 million, and so it's dropped down on average, even with
Yeah.
that big jump.
Right.
There's one jump, there's a $2.8 million jump for 1 month, but it's even in our, what's the word I'm looking for? Where the economy's, what's the word for the economy? Where
Inflation?
the inflationary economy. Even the inflationary economy with all things costing that much, our revenue from the sales tax is going down from what it used to be. So
Yeah.
just in our future planning, we ought not be thinking about 1.5 million a month. It's more like 1.1, 1.2 million a month. And right now, it's on the downside.
Yeah.
Just for what that's worth.
Right. That's good information.
Yeah. And
Part of
now-
that might be because of you getting the
Internet sales
internet
tax.
sales tax.
Yeah.
And the internet sales tax,
Call it 1%.
would cause basic costs to go down,
Yeah. And I'll do an analysis, I've done it before,
Yeah.
where I was able to show the actual trends.
Yeah.
In the next meeting, I'll actually show
Yeah.
that picture.
But it's just,
Yeah.
I just accidentally noticed that, and I
Right,
just wondered.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Moving along, project updates. And we've got Neil Schaefer here, I believe, to discuss research. What's that? Yes.
And
Come
thankfully,
join us.
and thankfully, we don't have Mr. Schaefer here.
Mr. Schaefer.
That would be cause for all of us to have concern.
Well,
We'd rather have it, but we just don't have the option.
that's absolutely right. He was a great engineer.
Great
I
guy.
tell you. That's another story. He's been retired for 14 years. And, anyway, but the project is going pretty well. They're rather slow, but we have some information for you. There's two things we'd like to point out. One is that on 1A, as you know, we, well, you can look at that second page. It shows you what we've accomplished today. And the biggest thing is the fact that we still have a lot of curb work to be done, and that's what slowed things down. The other thing that happened on this, from the first project we had, which was something around $5 million for 1A, this is sort of doubled the curb work and all this sort of doubled the price, and it's taken a lot longer, almost a year longer. And so what we're going to ask y'all if we can, because of the additional time, if we could have some more construction inspection time, because we have resident inspection. So that'll need to be something in the order of $140,000 that we need to get your approval. And I'll finish what I was doing. That's the first thing. The second thing is we've updated the cost estimates for 1B and 1C that do include curb and gutter work. And you will see on the first page, that shows how much our estimate is. And we need for you to give some thought to those construction estimates so that we can move ahead. We need to go ahead and advertise for these projects, see how the bids come in, and get your approval so we can go to the council to get the contracts awarded.
What's the total C and I for one pay?
Let's see,
Currently,
the total.
Yeah,
of our C and I contract was
Yeah.
424, I believe, thousand.
And it was estimated to be how long?
It was the original contract before the change orders was 150 calendar days.
Yeah, and the change order included 10 streets that we didn't have before because we thought that Jackson Water was gonna take care of them. So we had those added to it, and then there was some signal work, some detector work, that was added to that, which made, the total amount.
The detection work shouldn't take any more time, though, should it?
No,
I mean, that didn't add to the
no,
time.
it took
Yeah.
some cost.
It took some cost. Is the concept here, if 1B and 1C was all one contract, rather than two separate contracts, would the C and I be done the same way, or is it done this way because it's two contracts? Because it's still gonna take the same amount of time.
That's correct, but you probably have to have an inspector on each one of them. But if it doesn't, I mean, we don't charge when the inspector's out there, but
Okay,
it's not
so-
out there, so.
The inspector,
It could be a little less if they were doing the same thing at the same
I
time.
mean, if you got the same contractor doing both of them, and what they were doing, I mean,
Then you'd probably give it more time.
no, that's what he's got to bid based on.
Well, you said if they did both of them together.
Yeah, but I mean, if the same contractor did both of them, he just puts two crews or whatever out there, I mean, as much time as you give them,
Well, we can do that, we can
I mean,
add
I'm just-
them together if.
I'm not saying necessarily advocate, I'm just asking whether it's, how does the CE and I work? I mean, what's that, is that just X number of hours,
It's,
X number of dollars for every time the inspector, for every hour the inspector's out?
that's correct. That's correct.
Plus overhead, got to pay for you.
Well, it's an hourly. I'm cheap.
And those guys over his shoulder.
And those guys back over here.
They're the ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
All right, so this, what's the estimated time on 1B and 1C?
1B is 270 calendar days, and 1C is 350 calendar days.
350?
For 1C, yes.
Can you remind me, 1B, is that the one in South Jackson, 1C is in North and Northeast Jackson?
More or less, yes.
Pete, what's our unencumbered number?
We unencumbered.
I read the slides, but I didn't print them out, so.
We got the money there to do it, I looked at. Well, the unencumbered is $13 million. Because we got obligations of 142. We've got income so far of 155, so we've got $13 million. If you look at it from the other standpoint, we spent 123 and tied up another 4.5, so we spent 128, either under contract now or already spent. So you could take that 128 and subtract from 155 and say That's how much cash we have,
Mhm.
you know, so we don't have the money to obligate it now unless we de-obligate a bunch of projects.
Yeah.
But we do have, because 128 million, Dallas, you check me on this, expenses plus encumbrances, we don't have to pay anything more than that, that's $128 million. So that's $28 million worth of cash that we have if we de-obligate some projects.
But we've also got a long runway to construct, that we wouldn't have to pay for the money, we wouldn't have to have the money up front.
Yeah, we wouldn't have, we also got a year's worth of income coming in. You know, another $12 million coming in. Which is
This
a three,
combined is about 23 million.
but,
Combined is about 23 million.
yeah. So I mean, you've got, this combines 23 million, you got 28 million, you're gonna collect over this period of time another 12, but you're also cutting out being able to do a whole lot of other things.
But unencumbered, we have 13.
Uncovered, we have 13.
In the next year, we have 13.
Yeah.
This process is going to take a year.
Yeah.
We have enough to move forward with phase 1B.
Yeah, I think, yeah, we have no clearly to move forward with phase 1B. We don't have to make any obligation right now. We don't have to make any obligations when they come back with bids. Then we'd have to make obligations so that they could go to the city council with it. I think, y'all speak up, the city council's going to see, I don't know if they understand what we talk about when we have obligations, if they understand that concept.
Not all of that.
Because obligations does not fit in your financial, pardon my hand in your face. Obligations doesn't fit in your financial reports. That's just something to us. So you could legitimately tell them we got money in the bank, in the account, you know, without us de-obligating projects. But for us to keep our act straight, we would need to go through and do what we've been talking about doing for 3 years, and de-obligating a bunch of projects. It'd be a bunch of balances.
So we can move forward with getting bids for 1B and 1C, and then we'll get those bids back, see if we need to de-obligate, and move forward with 1B and maybe 1C.
If they come in, you know, somewhere in these numbers, we ought to be able to.
Pete, where would we de-obligate, what do we have that we would de-obligate?
Well, for example, Riverside Drive, we obligated 15.5. We probably only spent about 14.8, so we got $700,000 there. You know, West Capitol Street, not a good example, because we spent more than what, you know, some of these other projects.
That came in
The
on-
Terry Road Bridge, we probably got $100,000 obligated. Project's finished, all the bills are paid. Because we obligate more than what the original estimate is, and then there's some change orders and whatever. Sometimes there's $23 left, and sometimes there's $245,000 left. And so that's where we can we did all this before any one of the three of y'all were here at one time when Bob Miller was here, and de-obligated about $9 million on some early projects.
Gotcha.
But we hadn't de-obligated anything since 2018. And so all the projects that have been completed since then, and the bills have been paid since then, we have a final number that we can say, this much is left in our paperwork is left in a checking account and can't be spent.
If it's been that long, we need to go through and clean them up anyway.
Yeah, we do.
So we need to do that next month.
Yeah, we need to.
Free up some.
Now, I think if we're going to do it, quite frankly, folks, we ought to be prepared for a fairly long meeting to do it. Because if you remember the last one we did, we had to go through all the one by one by one. I think we can get it laid out a little bit better than that was then, because they were still playing with some funny numbers. But the work's gotta be done here, but yes, we need to do it. And it looks to me like we ought to be able to de-obligate somewhere around $15 million.
Well, I mean, that's what you were just saying.
There's a difference between 128 and 142.
Yeah.
That's 14 million.
It's not small change.
Well, let me back up a minute. The Riverside Drive project was bond money, so that wouldn't be part of that $700,000. That does mean we have a little bit of bond money to play with. That we probably ought to do sometime soon. I hadn't thought about that. We need to see how we get that real quick, because we need to go ahead and spend that bond money if next time we have a matching fund project that we can get about $700,000 or $800,000. Because that's bond money and it doesn't fit in the same thing.
Do we need a motion?
Actually, in my opinion, we screwed up last meeting. I told the fine folks that yesterday. I don't think it takes an action by us for them to take it to bids. The city can take it to bids whenever they want to. That's, I think they would like to know that we are in favor of moving forward if these numbers are realistic.
Yes.
If the bids come back with these numbers being realistic, we plan on moving forward, because we don't want to ask the contractors to do all this work if we're not going to do it. But to take bids does not take an action. We don't authorize the city to take bids. So,
Right.
does that make sense?
But we do need to make a motion on 145,000 for extra CE.
Yeah, that's a separate issue, that's,
To finish phase 1A.
yeah, well, that's a separate issue, yes.
I have a question, it may not be the right time, but about when we were talking about the county doing work and our projects in the country club. We also touched on, somebody asked me to find out about Northside Drive this afternoon. And so anyway, I don't want to interrupt this conversation, but they were in the minutes.
Yeah,
Well, that is important, because we removed the ones at the country club, because the county is gonna do with that. We met with Murray and the county.
and that saves about $1.5 million.
And the numbers you have reflect removing those 3 roads.
Yeah. And
So they're doing everything.
they were gonna do all St. Andrews, Brayburn, and Wingfoot Circle.
Actually, the street list at the very back of 1C may still have them in there now. I can't remember if I removed those.
1C?
Yeah, at the very back that has, but the construction cost estimates I put together have those removed.
So y'all are satisfied with what the county's gonna be doing in that?
I talked to Murray Stewart, and yeah, they were gonna remove and replace the same curb and gutter I talked about last time I was here, that I was concerned about. They're gonna do that and overlay those 3 streets. So it sounded like they were doing exactly what what we were gonna do.
But, so there's an issue I think we talked about.
On
St. Andrews?
St. Andrews.
I don't think we have any control of it.
No, we had that discussion about
We
the
could-
water that's either.
We could ask them to make
going
sure
across
that
or
they're
coming
gonna
under the road.
address that, but,
He's gonna try to have a berm and try to fix that.
Yeah,
but we can't go out there and do it ourselves. If they're gonna pave it, they're gonna pave it.
yeah.
Yeah, we can.
I think in order to fix the curb, that's when they're gonna get into that, and they mill the
Yeah.
road down,
I would think that they're gonna do it, and I think, we could point out, Murray's already knows it's there.
Yeah, he was aware of all of that,
Yeah.
and, I didn't get into the nuts and bolts of what he was gonna do exactly, but.
you were just glad to take it off your list.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he was addressing the storm drainage with the broken up curb and gutter.
What was their timing on that
I think they're trying to get it done before the golf
for the
tournament,
tournament?
so they may be working right now,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure we can find out with a phone call,
Yeah.
if they're working right now. But they were working last night anyway.
Right.
Along that line, there's also probably 2 or 3 more streets, or maybe more, that can come off this list from our meeting
Super love.
if we can ever get Tommy Avant to tell us. But that doesn't necessarily mean we need to take them off for bidding purposes. You know,
What was,
that they can't, when Mr. Wright and I had an honor of meeting with Supervisor Dixon, and a whole bunch of people, they had this list of 1B and 1C streets, and Tommy Avant with IMS, who's working with the county, had looked at the list, it's all in 1B, and it said, this one, we've already done, the county already done. But they only looked at the ones in Supervisor District 3, because that's all she asked them to look at. So we know that there were 3 or 4 streets on that list. Louis, do you remember about it?
Yeah,
About
about
4.
3 or 4.
And he was going to look and see if there were any others on our list that they've already done. I don't think it's going to be substantial enough, it's going to save a lot of money, but, you know, like I say, a few $100,000.
It's good to come under the bid.
Yeah, yeah.
what about the Northside Drive question?
The county's doing $600,000 on Northside Drive. It's not in this project.
Yeah, it's not, I knew it wasn't in here, I just knew we had talked about it.
I think what we need to do is find out what the county is going to do with their.
Maybe if they're only going, they can't do much for 600,000, they doing from Ridgewood Road west, east?
The original statement was they were doing from from Ridgewood Road, African Valley, Ridgewood's already been done.
West,
West, from Ridgewood, east, from Ridgewood east.
east,
Yeah,
Ridgewood east of the river.
down into Sherwood Forest and all that.
From Ridgewood west is already,
That's not on our list.
No, I know.
Ridgewood west has already been done.
Yeah. We were just talking about how several people have expressed an interest in getting that road. People that live down there, if you've driven down there lately, I don't know how people drive it every day. It's terrible.
It's a
Not
road.
just the rolling, there's hardly any pavement
Well,
down
you got
there at the bottom.
You got the rolling up there by the Creekmore compound,
Yeah.
and then you got a little bit of rolling up by the fork in the road, and then the asphalt just disappeared,
Yeah.
that's before.
When you start down the hill, when you go stay on Northside Drive, that's when it disintegrates. And it's a
Then
combination.
at Catherine, that's got the ditch in between that, it's dangerous. There's kids falling off bikes and people tripping all the time.
Catherine Drive's really bad. That looks like just an overlay.
Well,
That's an easy one, I think.
I think if the county is fixing to do Riverside, Northside, they don't have enough money to do all those side streets. Catherine, what's the one just south of Northside? Wild Valley, it needs work on it, it's not nearly as bad as this one. Catherine and another one that's parallel to Catherine, it might be that we ought to go in there and look at those once we see what the county's gonna do with Northside.
So if we can find out.
Yeah, we chose, when we did this list, not to do Northside because it's gonna take more work than just mill and overlay. It was a different kind of contract. But now that the county's gonna do that using state money, we can look at those other surrounding areas in there.
So do we
some
need
of
to
that
look
you
at-
just can't do mill and overlay.
Right. And to me, it looks like Wild Valley is a mill and overlay, but Northside Drive is the curbs and everything are gonna
Yeah.
be.
Wild Valley's only mill and overlay, little curb work.
Okay. So do we need, is that just go in the minutes that we talked about?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah, I think
once we find out what the county.
I think what needs to be done is somebody needs to contact the county to see what their plans are on Northside Drive.
Who is somebody in this case?
Well, I don't know when Mr. Mayor Turk is gonna take over. If it's any time, if they get a contract to them anytime soon, I would think that's where that would fall. Mr. Wright, you might tip me. Now, if it's gonna be a month before they get a contract to them, it seems like it's gonna fall on Mr. Wright.
Okay.
But somebody from the city ought to be coordinating and find out what the county's gonna do.
We'll coordinate that, we'll get it done.
I mean,
Thank you.
I think that falls
Also
under
be able
where
to
his
tell,
contract's gonna be.
all those people that live down there that are
Yeah.
driving that road every day, or multiple times a day.
All right.
there's no other way in and out. You get that
Well,
far back.
You gotta go up to Brecken, you go Ridgewood. and-
Oh, yeah, zigzag.
Well, you can go
You've
down-
already come up the bad part there.
Every-
No, but you could go to the end and go around and come.
Oh, yeah, go to Mid.
Yeah, everybody learned how to navigate this road. Walking through the trees were blocking 90% of the way out of the neighborhood. Everybody.
We did, we paved Bellingrath and Southwood and some of those other
Yeah.
streets in there.
We did part of Southwood, Bellingraph, and then another one. That was in what we did,
Like 4 or 5 years ago.
yeah. Yeah.
So we're back to phase 1B and 1C, and we sound like we're okay going ahead with the bids. And then we'll bring those bids back and see where we stand.
Which
As
raises,
well as we're cleaning up some of these other projects.
I think that's gonna be another meeting, right?
yeah, but which raises a question. I think if we're in agreement that y'all are gonna bids, everybody ought to get out the calendar and look at where we are right now. If they take bids and advertise for them next Monday or Tuesday, when they got the bids back, in order to bring them to us, they would get the bids back a week after we normally would meet
In October,
in September.
September.
I would like to make the suggestion, we cancel our September 11th meeting and reschedule it for sometime the week of the 23rd. And let's find a date that we can all agree on here today. Because that would give them 3 or 4 days to review the bids, and we can deal with this, which might be more than just a call-in meeting. They might be, we don't know what the bids are. But we could, if we cancel the September 11th meeting, which would be the week before they receive bids, and had a meeting sometime the week of the 23rd, and we did approve it, then that would give the city a week and a half to get it on the council's agenda, which I understand you have to have that by Wednesday before the council meeting.
October.
The council meeting is the second Tuesday. Second, fourth Tuesday, it's the 8th. Yeah, so that would give you a week, to get, October 2nd is when you'd have to have it in. So if we met, let's say the 24th, 25th, they give you a week to get it on the council's agenda for approval. I mean, just looking at the calendars, it makes sense to me that we change our September meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
But I mean, every time we try to email out and come back and get everybody, I think while we're here, let's just agree on some date that we all think is agreeable, if we can get there.
So we're saying cancel September the 11th?
Now,
Oh,
we yes, we cancel on September the 11th. We need to meet sometime the week of the 23rd. Preferably not the 23rd, which is Monday, because we need to give one more
The
day.
council meeting is,
Yeah.
24th. So
24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, morning, noon, or night, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I know it does to some people. That's what I'm saying, it does matter.
What about
All
the
of
25th,
the
2
council
o'clock?
approved on October 8th.
You could actually do it on Monday the 30th, which would still give y'all 2 days to get it on the council agenda. You could be prepared to have it on the agenda either way. But if you look as late as September the 30th, well, let's see what schedules are.
the meeting.
I'm good at 24th.
You get the
That's
24th?
earlier than better than during
Okay.
those days.
We have a
You
council
good?
meeting on the
Jeff?
24th.
So the 25th, 24th.
But you have a council meeting,
Yeah, 25th is horrible for me.
what about the 24th?
24th.
Monday
works for
doesn't give me
me.
enough time.
What's y'all's council meeting?
Council meeting.
What time? Morning? 10?
Monday doesn't give me enough time.
This is Tuesday. Wait, Monday the 30th, they give you, okay, we're not doing the 30th. Who invited you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I hear
it would
you.
give me enough time, but then it's gotta
I
go
hear you.
through 2 other people.
All right. 24th is good. Council meeting, but that's morning. But,
Sorry, I was looking at her and she was shaking her head. Everybody else was saying yes, she goes, "I'm telling you."
Keep for Tracy.
Sorry.
It's Wilson, Jonathan.
Wilson?
Yeah, it's good for me.
Jonathan?
Yeah, work for me. Well,
So we'll reschedule this meeting for the 24th of September.
Yep.
Okay.
That's good, the
We'll make a
24th.
decision.
And the goal of the council meeting on October the 8th.
Yeah, with the goal of having, if we did it 24th, Terry, that give you enough time?
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, yeah.
You want to do 2
I
o'clock
think, let's see.
Y'all make the time.
afternoon?
Wait, the council meeting is on,
It's the 24th.
oh, okay, October 8th, yeah.
24th and it's October 8th.
Somebody just texted me, it says raining.
It gives you 2 weeks to the council meeting, so a week and a half until the Wednesday deadline.
We open bids on the 19th.
2 o'clock.
Yeah,
That'll
2
solve
o'clock.
it. I gotta look at the calendar.
September.
Ted, Michael, is that 2 o'clock fine? On the 24th?
I mean, it depends on how long, is this the extensive meeting that we're gonna have to de-obligate funds?
Yeah.
Or not?
We
Then
wouldn't
2
have
o'clock's
to do,
fine.
we wouldn't have to do it that time.
Okay. Are we gonna do that before then? To be able to know how much money that we have to allocate?
We'll have the numbers.
Yeah.
We'll have the numbers before then, but
Okay.
we'll have to look at some of them individually, but probably,
We wouldn't have to have them to approve the,
no,
likely the bids, but we, for anything else.
yeah,
We would,
yeah.
the de-obligation.
2 o'clock works.
Do we actually need to make a motion to
I
change?
think so.
To change the meeting?
Because our rules say to cancel the September 11th, we have to have a motion. But if we don't have to schedule it, we might as well do it. Let's do it.
Okay. Take a motion to cancel the next regularly scheduled meeting to reschedule it on the 24th of September,
At 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Second.
Any discussion further? All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
You need to give us approval to continue.
Yes. The 100, was it 140,000?
Max, not to exceed, it's hourly, not to.
Not to exceed.
I'll make a motion to increase Phase 1A Street CE&I to a not to exceed amount of $145,000.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I
Lynn.
really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Chad,
Yes.
I know we've discussed this, but for everybody else's benefit, I'm concerned that the work has stopped working. And I expressed this concern to them yesterday. They ain't done any work on Phase 1A in the last month.
They did finish all the signal work for change order 1 was finished yesterday evening. So that did happen, but as far as curb work,
Yeah,
it's
but they
been,
didn't speed up they didn't speed up the completion of the project any.
no, it didn't. I just wanted to let y'all know that.
Okay.
So yeah, the curb work has been slow to none the past few weeks. Of course, we've been in contact with them. They've been, up until this point, been doing the curb work by hand. They are supposed to start Monday with they have custom made a boot for their curb machine. And they're gonna start putting the curb down using a curb machine, which should increase their pace a good bit. So,
But they got to when to finish 1A.
March 31st,
They got to end of March to finish.
Are they tracking on schedule?
But they're way ahead because they got,
well, if they keep up this pace, then no.
if they keep,
If they get
if
back
they
to
don't work
work.
for a month, I mean, they literally haven't worked for a month. My concern is, we're giving an awful lot of time in here if they could kill the whole month and not have to worry about it.
Yeah. Are we paying our invoices?
I haven't, as far as I know, I haven't heard any complaints.
Yeah. We don't have any outstanding.
Who's our contractor, DMV?
Yes. But Simmons Erosion is their sub who's doing the concrete work. But as far as Dickerson and Bowen is concerned, they're the prime, and so they are concerned about the lack of productivity lately. So it's not
Sure, yeah.
Simmons, because it's holding up the milling and overlay operation. So they're trying to let the curb people get far enough ahead so that when they come behind, they won't run into them again.
But
And so,
we won't, because the contract is set to the end of March, they're not gonna be, because it's gonna go over into the next paving season, they're not gonna be able to come back and hit us like Nipple did on the cost increase on the asphalt. Because that extension of time did not give them,
They've got
I don't foresee that
the
happening.
unit prices.
the unit price is guaranteed till then.
That's right.
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. All right, to you, Commissioner Wright.
Sure, I can continue with the project updates. We've talked about Riverside. Jackson Warden has completed their work, and they've gone to, as you can see, there's a picture. All right. Many of you probably ridden that area and noticed how the work has been done.
Twice today.
Okay.
I-
It looks good.
I ironically, one morning left my house and went out Lakeland Drive to the doctor's appointment, was coming back at 10 minutes after 11. Was coming back, going to come back this way. And I was the front car fixing to turn right. They made me stop there for 7 minutes while they were putting the stripe down that thing so they could open it up. So I saw it when it got opened up good, so, because the striping machine was going down there and replacing the yellow line with the white line, so the whole thing was then finished.
Is the neighborhood maintaining the right-of-way there?
Well, that was the discussion that we had at the last commissioners meeting, and when we did the ribbon cutting, I don't think we talked, well, there were some members of the neighborhood there, and they expressed some concerns about lawn service parking up on the curb and on the grass and everything. So the mayor went and talked to some of the lawn services. So we just kind of get the neighborhood more involved in it as well. And we talked about putting some, what do you call those, blockers?
Bollards. No, I'm just talking about, like, I know LaFleur East maintains, or the LaFleur East bid maintains the right-of-way along the frontage road and on Lakeland Drive. Like, the grass isn't getting cut here. It looks nice right there, and then you get past it's overgrown and you get to Murrah, it looks like they're cutting the grass all the way to the curb.
Salvation Army's cutting theirs, MERS cutting theirs. What's not being cut is from the Salvation Army east.
That's all state property, isn't it? Well, it fronts up, just where the trees
Yeah.
are, what you're talking about.
I assume the houses along the south side are doing that little bit of space between the sidewalk and the curb. But that leaves the median too. There's some areas that there's grass there in the median. I don't know if the neighborhood association doing it, I know the city's not doing it.
Yeah.
To me, right now, nobody's doing it.
Okay. Seems like a good opportunity for the neighborhood association
Ever since they get all that special extra tax money,
Right,
the city
right.
paying for the stuff that the city's supposed to be doing. That all you
True.
Eastover folks voted for us for.
We'll check on that, the neighborhood association. I think Councilwoman Lindsay lives in the
Yes.
area.
to. Yeah. But they have a director, she was at that ribbon cutting that day.
We'll mention it to her and see if she can talk to them.
Even if the city was maintaining it, the best they'd be doing is cut the grass. They wouldn't be edging it. You know, making it look as nice as it could.
Right. These other projects are just various stages of closeout. Meadowbrook Road, Mill Street, and Terror Road. MDOT said they're getting pieces of information that they need in order to close those out.
On Terry Road, Mr. Terry mentioned to me as we were walking in. In our last meeting, we did discuss that. I did go back and look at that road after he and I rode it with Southern Consultants. And in my opinion, they fixed everything that was probably fixable.
Okay.
and it was good and okay,
Okay,
yeah.
so we're ready to close it.
They did take care of dealing with the asphalt versus the manhole covers.
Good. All right. I think we got the final paperwork on the desk now that's signed. The Woodrow Wilson, that's from MLK to Mill Street. We are still in process of working out some right-of-way issues there.
I thought they were set for bids. Last week, you said it was going to be bids on July the 30th.
Yeah, we took it off the bid list because of the fact that we don't have all the right-of-way worked out.
That's a good reason to take it off.
We did not want to end up in the same situation as the Capitol Street project. So
Yeah, but
Entity is still working on trying to obtain the right-of-way to move the poles so we can complete it. Then the Woodrow Wilson Mill Street I-55, we received MDOT's. We sent it back to MDOT on the MOA, and Terry, I have that for you to take a look at. You put some comments on it, so we have that to try to get
Yeah,
that.
we got it back today. I have to compare what I sent them to what they sent back, because it's, you know, they don't.
can we talk about that one just one second?
Sure.
Earlier this year, we talked about cutting the project off and going on to State Street and throwing away the MPO money. The estimate we got back from Michael Baker for doing that, going on to State Street, look like that's gonna be $4.5 million, $5 million. So the question is whether going from State Street to Mill Street is gonna cost as much as $2 million, because that's how much the MPO dollars is. I had a discussion with,
Brad. Is it
no,
Brad?
this is a guy Michael Baker raised, somebody, I can't think of, because he was gonna go to that meeting with MDOT with us, so that was, and asked if they were able to take bids in a manner that said, contractor, architect, you know what I'm talking about here, with the alternate number one, take bids for State Street to, from I-55 to State Street. Alternate number one is carried all the way to Mill Street, so we can see what the cost to go on to Mill Street is. And if it's $2 million or just right at that, would be better off to go all the way to Mill Street, it looks like with the number. So when if MDOT's okay with doing it that way, if we did it to State Street, we would be giving up the MPO money. But if we can go all the way to Mill Street for less than $2 million more, we ought to take the MPO money. So it means we would have to be
Wait
bid.
on the numbers.
Yeah, well, it depends on the bids, but the bids would have to be put out for bids under MPO rules.
Right, right.
Which, I mean, it would be if we were only gonna go to State Street, but if we put the alternate in there, it would have to be put out, the whole thing under MPO rules. So, my suggestion is we do it that way, that Michael Baker said they could do it, then you have to do it, but just in looking where we, with the extra $750,000 we get from MDOT, it might be worthwhile to go all the way to the end.
All right. Okay. We'll look and see.
I'm not saying anything about that project.
Okay. All right. These are some additional projects that we have, McDowell Road Extension. These are the new projects that were on the list that we received. McDowell Road, South State Street, Town Creek Project, and the Officer. One on this Officer Thomas Ketchens Bridge. This is one where Jackson Water has there's a water line attached to the bridge. And we have contacted, I think the contractors or engineer contacted Jackson Water. Jackson Water is still in discussion about whether or not they can remove the line. There's been a lot of discussion on it, and in our discussion with Ted Hennepin yesterday, indicated that we just need to sit down with the engineers and talk about this project. see what they can do. But there's a water line that's attached to the bridge that we have to replace. So we'll get more information on that. And the other two projects are still ongoing. We have a meeting scheduled for this Friday, I believe, to talk about this Beasley Road and Holland Drive project in terms of working out right away.
Who's gonna meet with the county on that Beasley Road issue? We're fixing to spend $1 million on that intersection, and they're fixing to spend $500,000 repaving right where that intersection is. Because they got that money from the state to repave from State Street to Hanging Moss, which goes right across that intersection. So somebody needs to be, you know, we don't want to tear up what they just go do, and we don't want them to go, you know, somewhere there needs to be some serious
Coordination,
conversation
discussion.
between the two before.
Okay. We'll do
Which
that.
one, which,
This
is
is
that
it.
that signal project?
This is, it's the third, one
It's
for-
widening, putting a turn lane in at Beasley Road,
Okay.
but the county got money from the state to repave Beasley from North State Street to Hanging Moss.
Which?
Goes right across there.
Yeah. Okay. That's a Neil Schaefer project, so ours is,
Okay.
so. And we need.
I don't know what their time frame is. I mean, they just got the money in
I mean, we're acquiring right away on that, but, I'm not sure, we've just started on that process, so.
We'll find out more about it.
yeah, another conversation with the county.
Yeah. And that's in whose ward district is that?
That is Robert Graham's.
And this is just some bridge replacement projects that we still are waiting on design work on these. Small, some of these, the county,
Smallwood Shaw.
yeah, from our discussion, the county really wants to try to do
If we could get the engineers to finish the engineering real quick.
and we're gonna see if the county will take it up and do it and
Yeah, I think
get it done.
if we can say, here are the plans, they're ready to take it and build it themselves.
And then the last slide is only, well, not the last, next to the last, just some other street projects that we have going
All
on.
right, on
We
that,
still, go ahead.
on that first one, see on the end where it says Beasley Road, the engineer's working to do from Watkins Drive to the Northwest Industrial Park. The county's fixing to do from North State Street to Hanging Moss. That only leaves about a half-mile section in between the two of them. I don't know what the shape of that road is right now.
Okay.
But if the county's fixing to go all the way to Hanging Moss, we're gonna start over at Watkins Drive and go to the park, do we want to maybe have the engineer look at what it would do if he just had picked up
Or where they stop.
at Watkins, where they're stopping, so that it would go, I mean, I don't know what that section's like in between there, but it'd be worth looking at. If it's not recently been done, if it's 10, 15 years old, we ought to add Watkins to Hanging Moss, so that Beasley go all the way through.
Okay. We'll look at it.
Yeah.
We're still working with Entergy on getting the poles out the sidewalk from that project. It's right-of-way issue as well. Then that's phase one. Phase two of that is from Prentice to Gallatin Street. And you can see some of the estimates that we received on that from Rose to Gallatin, which is phase one, estimated at 8.6 million. Then from Prentice to Gallatin is 14.9 million. Now, from Prentice to Gallatin Street, we need to talk about this project because there's a section that's in front of the Boys and Girls Club that is really not in a bad shape. If you take it from Prentice to Gallatin Street. No,
Roads together.
Rose to Gallatin.
That's why we,
We broke it down into
yeah, we
these
looked
two.
at it because when you go west from Rose, it's not nearly as bad. The bad section is Rose to Gallatin, and that's also where it changes 1 lane to 2 lane back to 1 lane. But 2 lane to 1 lane to 2 lane. I'm sorry.
What was that?
Bring her the thunderstorm warning.
I apologize. But we ain't got $8 million right now anyway, so it doesn't matter.
How much of that design work is attributed to the two-way? Like if you just paved the street and didn't do all the signals and all that, could you just mill and overlay the street?
They could, the city been going around patching areas that we're fixing to pave.
Yeah.
I don't understand why this is going on. Streets that we have under contract right now to pave, they're patching areas that are just like that. They could go patch that area instead of patching streets that we're fixing to pave and solve what you're talking about where it's really rough right there in front of the stew pipe and all that. But go over here on Boyd Street. Boyd Street was terrible. That's between State Street, North Street, over by those CVS. That's included in our 1A streets. They patched half of that street. And then go down on a couple of others coming out of there. I saw ones they did over on Peach Street now. Whoever is patching streets for the city ought to first take a look at our contracts. And don't patch those streets right now for a fix to pave them.
And we are coordinating that with the street paving group.
Well, they ain't doing a good job of it.
A lot of it is not the city doing this, some of it is utility cuts from
So
Jackson.
what I'm talking about on these, I know where the utility cuts are too. And I think on the utility cuts, they ought to figure out that they don't need to do a paving job too. I'm talking about where the city passes, because they're water utility. That section on Boyd Street,
Board Street, okay,
well, they got a CVS.
okay.
There ain't no utility cut in there. Travel, you know. If they would patch that with that project until you get here, you could make that section of the street drivable. But I do, in general, I wish they would.
We are coordinating with paved streets on the 1% paving of streets, because we told them that, let's not patch it if we're gonna go in there and do a whole street in that area.
I'll admit the board was done 3 or 4 months ago, so it may be done in the last 2 or 3 months.
This is Boyd Street.
Boyd is one of them I can think of. I can give you a couple others that I've seen, but it's,
Is it possible, like that worst section, just to get a price on milling and overlaying that? Because, I don't know what we're gonna have 20,
I think let's see if the city can't use they've got paving money too. I mean, let's see, because for us to go do that as one little project, you're talking about a $70,000, $80,000 project.
yeah.
That's not, that doesn't really fit.
It doesn't do it right.
We could just do a better job of milling just in that section to take care of that. You'll find those street. Just to move on. The last thing, these are just the new LPO projects that we're working on. We're not on the point of doing anything with these right now. These were the ones that were assigned to us this year. Just wanted to keep it in front of us. Is there any questions? That's all we have on project updates. Mr. Chairman, that's all we have.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Can I ask a quick question for Bud?
Yes.
Yes.
What is the current status of kind of pothole patching? Is that happening at the city level? And what's going on? I'm just curious if that is happening.
Yes, that is happening within the city. We're working with paved streets and potholes and getting a list of all of the potholes that we have and looking at going out, doing those patchings in those areas, but that process is going on. And we're gonna come up with a method like we're doing with traffic signals and placing those on our Facebook page so that people can be aware of where we're working in terms of pothole repairs.
Yeah, I think I just had some neighborhood associations ask. I mean, if they've got stuff that's been open or problematic for months or years, you call the city, ask them to get assistance. I mean, is there any process in which there's any way to expedite that, or is it we're just kind of waiting and seeing until it makes some arbitrary list? I'm trying to figure out, do people control their own fate with streets when it comes to pothole work, or is it just whenever y'all get into the area, you have to get help?
No, we're taking it off the 311 as residents call in the 311 to indicate a pothole. We're having page streets to look at that list, pull those addresses off of that list, and those are the ones that we are working. So have they been calling?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's the process.
Yeah, I think we have to keep hearing they've been calling for months without anybody showing up. They're just curious if there was a way to, how do you actually get some help, or it's more like, you'll hit this area when there's a certain number of holes, and it makes sense to get a truck there to address the 15, 20, 30 spots, as opposed to coming from only one or two. Maybe they're just kind of curious what the thought process was, whether they could actually get some help.
That is the process, but if you have some that you would like to pass on to me, just let me know, we can get them taken care of.
Okay, perfect. But in reality, they really are kind of waiting to get enough critical mass of a problem area that the truck's not calling at once, as opposed to going to just hit a single street or a couple streets.
Okay, all right.
Is that Jackson Water Works?
Thank you.
On the north side at Highland Village, right there at the frontage road. They've got all the way across in front of Maywood, blocked down to one lane, and they torn up right in front of that gas station. East side,
Yeah, that's probably Jacksonville.
yeah,
Front of
in front of,
the, Maywood, Old Kent.
right there in the westbound lane, north side drive at the northbound frontage road, right there at that gas station. They've got it all
Yeah.
fenced off, and a couple track hoes down in there digging. I don't
Yeah, that's Jackson Water.
You know, they closed that other side down for like a
Yeah.
month and a half. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We have any other business? We get it all completed? I'll take a motion to adjourn then.
Make that motion.
Second. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you. Anybody got a number on it?
Thank you.
We waited just long enough to where it is.